Good morning, everybody. Here on a beautiful day, Wednesday morning at Huntington Beach. I'm just going to go through some of the basics, all the basic parts of the Seder and everything you need to know. The word Seder means order, and there's a very specific order and system on how the Seder works. It's been established a very long time ago, where the rabbis determined that this is the most powerful way on how to experience the real power of the night. Now, I'm going to go through what are the main items that need to happen tonight. The key thing is eating matzah and telling the story, as well as drinking 4 cups of wine or grape juice. The key person in the entire thing is you, because the story of the Seder is a story of us, of the Jewish people. So when you have a Jew and sitting at the Seder, when you're sitting at the Seder, you're the Seder, you're the story of Pesach, and that's important to recognize and understand. Now, the Seder has 15 steps. A lot of them you'll see you're familiar with, even though it sounds like a big number. We'll go through them. To set up for the Seder, you need to have a Seder plate. The plate consists of a hard-boiled egg, which will, let me just put this on airplane mode so I don't get interrupted. It consists of a hard-boiled egg that's representing one of the sacrifices that they brought in the times of the temple, when they would experience Passover in its most pristine form in Jerusalem. A lot of people have the custom to have a chicken neck roasted. Now, these 2 items are not crucial. If you don't have them for the Seder, you can move on. If you do, you put them, the egg is on the upper right, the chicken neck roasted is on the upper left. You put this on a regular plate, the egg, the chicken neck, and then in middle, you put the bitter herbs, as well as on the bottom, underneath that. So imagine the egg, chicken neck, and you might be seeing this in reverse. So the egg's on the right, chicken neck's on the left. In between those 2, a little bit below, is the bitter herbs, and under the bitter herbs is the lettuce. On the left side, between the lettuce and the bitter herbs, underneath the chicken neck, is the onion, and on the right side is the charosas. I'm going to send you a link with a paper so you can see exactly how this is laid out. Underneath this plate, put 3 matzos. We need 3 matzos because we're going to be utilizing them throughout the Seder, and they also represent the 3 classes in the Jewish world: Reform, Conservative, and Orthodox. Now I'm joking. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and Cohen, Levi, and Yisrael. Don't start the Seder until 7:44. You can prepare it all, but if you started before 7:44, it's practically as if you did it during the winter and Hanukkah. There's a time when the power of the Exodus takes place, every location according to its place, and therefore that's at 7:44 here in Huntington Beach. You're going to start the Seder by filling up a cup of wine, and that's the first of the 4 cups. It's Kaddish. You're going to recite the Kiddush. I'm going to send you a link for the Haggadah as well, where you could say the Kiddush, and when we drink that first cup, we recline to the left, because everything tonight is all about freedom. You're supposed to drink, it can be grape juice as well, but about 3.5 ounce cup, and you should drink all of it, of the 3.5 ounces. That's called a revius. That's ideal to do. Shouldn't be too hard. If you can't do that, then most of the cup is okay as well. After you recite the Kiddush, you drink it, we go wash our hands 3 times on the right, 3 times on the left, and we take the we take the vegetable, which is the onion or the potato that's on the counter. You dip it into salt water. We make a blessing, Borei Peri Adama. We have in mind the Mara when we make that blessing. Reason why we do this is because we really want to engage questions, understanding that if there is no question, there's no satisfying answer. If there is no slavery, we don't appreciate redemption. A person who had no money could only appreciate what it is to have money. This is the system of how life works. So we start off by doing things that are odd, to provoke and to bring out questions within us. What on earth is going on? To make us realize that tonight's different. And then we got to ask, hey, why is tonight different? And then we could appreciate really what the power of the night is. So we did that. At this point, we don't need the vegetables. So Rosh Hashanah, we went through 3 of the steps. Kadesh, we made Kiddush. Orkas, we washed our hands. And Karpas, we dipped the vegetable into the salt water. Now, We take the middle matzah, we break the middle matzah into two. Have the bigger part gets put aside for the afikoman. We hide that, and then the smaller part we put back in between the two matzahs. So that's step number 4. Kadesh urchatz karpatz yachatz. Now we do magid. Magid is, we say the Haggadah, we repeat the story. This is one of the main parts of the Haggadah. We fill up the second cup, we do the entire Magid over the second cup, and we begin with inviting people, and we say next year we're going to be in the land of Israel, and then we have the Manishtana. We go through the questions, very important part. Even if you're alone, everyone, the children and the adults, they go through the 4 questions, and we start the answer. Avadim ayinu l'par b'Mitzrayim, we were slaves in Egypt, and crucial part of that, no other part, mitzvah and Torah, do we say that you need to see it as if this is happening to you. Purim, Chanukah, we commemorate these holidays, but we don't say, hey, I want you to relive it. When it comes to Passover, we say we need to relive the story, because in essence it's happening to us. The energy of freedom is taking place tonight, and that's something that we need to really internalize. We go through the Dayenu, we recognize each of the steps of the miracles that God has done for us so many years ago, and that crafted us and molded us as a people as we are today, clearly very Jewish. That is in the Haggadah. You go through Magid. At the conclusion of Magid, we drink the second cup of wine or grape juice, and we recline to the left again. We do that. Women do not have to do the reclining. Men do the reclining, because male ego, they need to feel like they're kings. Women don't have that insecurity. Kadesh urchatz karpas yachatz magid. We did 5 steps. Now we wash our hands, which is rachza, 3 on the right, 3 on the left, where we do for bread, and we make al netilat yadayim. The time prior we didn't make al netilat yadayim. And then we take the matzah and we eat the matzah. Now this is the highlight of the Seder. This is the food that they actually ate when they left. Although it was baked this year, don't worry about it. We're not holding on to matzah from all back then. But we take the 3 matzos from underneath the plate. We hold them together. We make a bracha al achilat matzah. And then we drop the bottom matzah. And we say hamoti lechem min haaretz. And we take... Now, you need to eat about a half a shmura matzah in this time frame of 4 to 9 minutes. Not supposed to talk during this point as well. So it's very important to do this right. You recline to the left when you do it, and you just chug matzah. This is the way to do it. Some people nibble on it throughout the Seder. I get the temptation to do that, but doing that will not fulfill the mitzvah properly. You need to eat it in what's considered eating, and that's the definition of eating it from a Torah perspective. And so we did rachza, motzi, and matzah in doing that. Now we eat the maror, the bitter herbs. And this is an important thing. Even though tonight's all about freedom, we recognize, like I mentioned earlier, if you don't taste the bitterness of slavery, you won't be inspired or inclined to break out and be free. So we take some of the bitter herbs, we dip it into the charoses, and we eat this. We don't eat this reclining because it's not a freedom type of experience. We make a bracha, blessing al achilat maror, and we eat the maror. Now we do a Hillel sandwich. We take the matzah and the maror and we put it together. Back in the day when Hillel used to do it, it was done with the meat of the Korban Pesach as well. That was a sandwich. The reason why we do the Hillel sandwich is because Hillel recognized in his time how the matzah, the freedom, and the maror, the bitterness, are intertwined. The greatest gift that you could give a person, one of the greatest gifts is, the best gift is that you don't have pain. But if a person has pain, at least to be able to see how this pain is going to bring to freedom, it helps experience the pain. That's what they had then. So they had the maror and the matzah combined. The matzah is freedom, the maror is the pain. So we try to tap into that as well. That's korech, shulchan aruch. Now we have the meal. And now you're supposed to just eat all the great stuff, whatever you have prepared. And you eat the egg. People have the egg, dip it into the salt water. That's good. You can drink as much as wine now. It doesn't count against the 4 cups. And now we do tzafin. Tzafin is we eat the afikoman, that second half of the matzah that we that we put aside. By the way, the third matzah is what's used for the korech sandwich. At this point, different matzahs are used for different things, and don't stress about it. It's okay. You eat the afikoman, you eat this reclined. After the afikoman, we're not supposed to eat or drink anything more besides 2 more cups of wine. So if you have any water or things like that you want to have, do it now. You eat the korech now, or korech. Tzafan, that was tzafan. Berach, now you do the blessing after the meals like a regular Baruch Atah Hashem. And we do this over the 3rd cup of wine. When you finish the blessing, you recline to the left and you drink the 3rd cup of wine. And now, after this blessing, we do the Hallel service and we praise Hashem and thank Hashem, full of songs and beautiful statements of appreciation. We fill up the 4th cup. We do the Hallel over the 4th cup. And we also fill up a 5th cup that goes in the center of the tables for Elijah the prophet. According to our tradition, Elijah the prophet visits every person's home as they are going to and to bring them this taste of freedom. What happens is you take the candles that you lit before the meal, before 7:44, the holiday candles, and you carry them, bring them to the door with you. And there's a section that we say in the Haggadah that speaks about our situation here in exile. And according to tradition, we open the door and Elijah the prophet enters. That 5th cup is for him. And according to tradition, when we are standing by the door, it's a very powerful time for prayer and to make requests, and especially for things in relation to spirituality and to growth. We finish the songs of praise, we drink the 4th cup, and we conclude with L'Shana Haba B'Yerushalayim. I want to conclude with a story. A lot of people are doing the Seder alone, either literally alone, just them, or usually you have your family and now you're just doing it with your immediate family, which is beautiful, but it may feel like there's something lacking. And I want to share, this is a story that I confirmed with a classmate of mine. His name is Mendy Halberstam. He grew up with me in Crown Heights in Brooklyn, and see, the Rebbe, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, did not have any children, and he spent every single holiday and Shabbat meal just him and his wife. There were never guests. She was his life companion. They had each other. We know the Rebbe did everything and continues clearly to do that. Every person has a Seder. If not for him, I wouldn't be doing this tutorial right now to make sure everybody does the Seder properly. Biggest Sedarim that they have all over the world, except for this year. But he made sure everyone had a Seder, but he did it alone. In 1988, his wife passed away. And there was a family, Halberstam, which is my friend's mother, realized that the Rebbe is going to be alone. And she sent her son, Ari. Ari's older brother. And told the Rebbe that he'd like to invite the Rebbe to join for the Seder. My mother asked that you can join us. And the first year the Rebbe said that he can't. He already lit the candles. He's supposed to light the candles in the place of the Seder. So Mrs. Halberstam sent the boy again next year and said, you know, we don't want the Rebbe to be alone. To kind of insist on it. The boy was very shy. He was young, but he went nonetheless. And he told the Rebbe, we don't want the Rebbe to be alone. The Rebbe is going to be having the Seder himself in his room. And the Rebbe said, I'm not going to be alone. My father-in-law is going to be with me. The Rebbe, his Rebbe, which passed away in 1950, he's going to do the Seder with me. And that is what the Seder is. The Seder is us experiencing and connecting with our ancestors, with our extended family. And we don't do it necessarily physically, but spiritually. We're not alone. We're doing this with the entire Jewish world. And let's hope that truly that this year we'll be able to do it in Jerusalem. If you have any questions, please reach out to me, and I hope to see you guys together tonight in Jerusalem.